Chapter 10, Bloody Slayer. Please subscribe and support the Fiction Files for more videos. Han Sen was hiding on the stone hill when the sacred blood creature charged in his direction. As he was deciding whether to retreat, he saw Son of Heaven shoot down the sacred blood creature. Anger surged and Han Sen rushed down the stone hill while summoning the bronze crescent spear. He shot the spear at the monster and hit it in the wounded chest, killing the dying creature. Sacred Blood Bloody Slayer killed. Sacred Blood Beast Soul Bloody Slayer gained. Eat the flesh of Bloody Slayer to gain 0 to 10 sacred Geno points randomly. The voice in the back of his head brought him intense joy. He had just gained another Sacred Blood Beast Soul. His luck was too good to believe. However, Han Sen did not have time to celebrate. The body of the Bloody Slayer was too large for him to take away, but what he could take away was the giant golden axe. The creatures in God's sanctuary could produce certain treasures through special means. People called these treasures gears. Although gears were just like solid items and could not be summoned like beast souls, they could perform as well as beast souls if they were produced by advanced creatures. The Bloody Slayer was peerless when holding the golden axe, and the axe could easily break normal beast soul weapons and beast soul mounts, so it proved to be an excellent sacred blood gear. Han Sen's goal was to get the golden axe, and the beast soul of Bloody Slayer was completely unexpected loot. Watching Han Sen running on the mountain with the golden axe, everyone was stunned. Mother # Kerr. Son of Heaven let out a raging roar when he realized what had happened. With a black wildebeest summoned as his mount, he rode madly in Han Sen's direction. Behind him, his gang all raced off on their own mounts to chase Han Sen, roaring and rebuking him. Han Sen did not expect the golden axe to be so terribly heavy. With 8 sacred Geno points, he was already a lot stronger than before, yet he could still barely walk with the axe, not to mention run. The Bloody Slayer made it seem so light. How could I run off with such a heavy weapon? Hansen looked back and could already see Son of Heaven and his gang only half a mile from him. Although it was too heavy to carry, Han Sen would never leave behind such an excellent sacred blood gear. He suddenly got of his newly gained beast soul of the Bloody Slayer, took a look at it, and suddenly cheered up. Type of sacred blood Bloody Slayer's beast soul, shapeshifting. Without thinking, Han Sen summoned the beast soul of Bloody Slayer and a majestic shadow galloped out, looking just like the monster, only missing the giant axe. The beast soul ran towards Han Sen, and was instantly integrated with him. His body was transformed into a Bloody Slayer and the black beetle armor changed its shape accordingly, still fully covering Han Sen's body as a Bloody Slayer. After all, beast soul armor was not as rigid as man-made ones and could change according to the shape of the body. After shapeshifting, Han Sen felt so energetic that the golden axe was now nothing to him. Running with 4 hoofs, he also became incredibly fast. Han Sen surged up the mountain at full speed and disappeared, far outpacing the gang. Everyone was speechless as everything happened so fast. Many smirked as they watched Son of Heaven and others who were still chasing Han Sen. #T. Who was that guy? He's got some nerve jumping into the boiling pot. And what loot? In addition to the golden axe, he gained a sacred blood beast soul. Can you imagine how much it must be worth? You think you could buy a sacred blood beast soul just with money? Ha ha, Son of Heaven must be so mad. A sacred blood beast soul. It would have been his but was taken away. The arrow he used seemed like a one-off sacred blood beast soul. And what did he get in return for such investment? LOL. I'm just afraid Son of Heaven will lose his mind. Didn't expect there to be a sacred blood beast soul. How lucky that guy is. He could never have killed the monster alone. And a dozen sacred blood creatures may not even render a single beast soul. It just happened that he gained everything with the last hit. Who was that guy indeed? Is there such a person in steel armor shelter? I heard someone call him Doll, but not sure. Doll. Interesting name. After less than an hour, Son of Heaven returned gloomily with his gang, but people already knew it was impossible to find someone on the winding mountain trails. Son of Heaven immediately questioned Su Shaoqiao when he got back. His exclamation dollar had been a mistake. Su Shaqiao had no choice but to tell him everything about how he met Han Sen, which wasn't very helpful since all he had was a name dollar. Son of Heaven didn't fully believe him, but couldn't do much as Su Shaqiao was in Chen Xuan's gang. He bitterly led his gang back to Steel Armor Shelter and locked down the shelter, swearing to find Dollar and cut him into pieces. Most people did not learn the name Dollar, while Doll became popular. For a while Doll, Son of Heaven, Sacred Blood Creature and Sacred Blood Beast Soul became the most popular topics in Steel Armor Shelter. Please subscribe and support the Fiction Files for more videos.